Hello and welcome yet to another edition of Hello Americas What's Cooking here on LinkedIn Live. My name is Xenia Pola and I will be your host today. We can be found here every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and it's a great pleasure to introduce today's guest, who is actually my colleague, Andres Escandon, who is our regional director for Latin America and the Caribbean. Welcome, Andres.
Thank you. Thank you, Sania. Thank you for inviting me.
And if at any stage all our viewers want to say hello or have a specific question for Andres, please feel free to pop that in the chat. But before we get started, since Andres only joined us, I guess March or April of last year, not
Yeah.
many members have met you in person who are outside of the Latin American regions. Obviously, our Latinos have met you throughout 21 and also at the ICA Congress in Cartagena. But let our entire ICA community know a little bit more about you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yes, I joined exactly 10 months ago, the ICA family as regional director. Before that, I was a commercial director for the convention center in Bogota, Agora, where I was for about 6 to 7 years approximately, just in charge of the entire international bidding and getting international events to the convention center, to Bogota, working with the convention bureau. Before that, I was part of the internationalization team for another fairground, which is the largest fairground in Colombia. I'm based out of Colombia. I'm Colombian, of course, and we were working always to promote internationally Latin America, our Latin American destinations, Bogota, and obviously our venues. That's where I come from. I come from venues. So I was a member of ICA ever since I joined the industry like 10 years ago. So when I joined ICA, it was very good for me because I try to bring that specific look from the member perspective and how can we create value for them actually now that I'm here in ICA. So that's a little bit of my background. I'm an internationalist. I have an MBA. I like a lot of tech information, a lot of sales information, business development. But that's it. That's a little bit about myself.
That's excellent. And before I reveal some big news from your end, which happened just in December, I just wanted to share a couple of fan mail in the chat. So you are having quite a following. And Hola, my friend Andres, such a great ICA teammate. But there is more. Hola, Andres from Steve. There is also Melissa, who's saying hello from Ottawa. So I see you are having quite a lot of fans in the audience today. And do you want to share what was your big news in December?
No, my big news. Oh well, I got married in December. I think that's what you're referring to. Yeah. So
Yes,
um,
I do. I do. Congratulations. And it's
thank
always
you.
great to see another one bite the dust and come over to our end. But I hear from somebody that you are also a great Colombian tour guide. So for anybody in the audience, if you are in Colombia, please feel free to reach out to Andres and he will be showing you around and show you the ropes and ins and
Definitely.
outs.
Definitely. Definitely.
When you first joined, the situation was quite dire. So, would you be able to share a little bit what you found and where you are today?
Of course. Well, back 2021, we were already 1 year into the whole pandemic, the whole crisis. I lived most of this pandemic crisis, the shutdowns, the restrictions from the venue that I was part of, right? So I lived it through the entire process of thinking about our industry. What's the future going to be like? When I joined ICA last May, actually, we already had this difficult conversations about where we were going. So the industry was starting to just being hopeful again on everything coming back to to the place, right? So basically, the challenges on that part on that time was confidence. I mean, it was to reaffirm the confidence of our industry, to reaffirm that our industry it's detrimental for the development of our cities, for the development of everything, because our industry actually impacts not only tourism but economic development, culture, academic, political. So that was the main challenge back then, just to regain that trust, that optimism, that hope. That was the first. Then you need to go a little bit more into detail from each segment, right? So venues obviously had a hard stance there because they were shut down for most of 2020, 2021. In Latin America, most of the I mean, everyone had restrictions, travel restrictions, but then late 2020 and early 2021, everyone started opening. Actually, Colombia was one of the first countries that were doing some pilots with limited people attending events, in-person events. So I mean that was a very good opportunity for everyone in Latin America to integrate and to, for instance, the safety and health protocols that were actually implemented by most of Latin America. Everyone discussed them, everyone shared them. So everyone was sharing experiences, and that got to each government to implement similar protocols, right? Everyone has their own laws and everything, but it was a very good team effort. So that was the main challenge back then when it comes to when I step in on the ICA side. The other right now, I mean, I'm always been an optimist, of course. Today, I'm even more optimist because the data is actually showing that associations, corporations, organizations, government, sports events, everyone looks to the in-person part of our industry as a key aspect for the return on the investment experience. The whole, I mean, we are human beings. We all yearn for that on-site and face-to-face connection. And I think we've discussed this a lot. Obviously, never leaving the digital part aside. The digital was here to complement, but not to replace, but to complement what we do. So I think that was the challenge back then. Today, the main challenges, and let me just share with you two, which is first, when it comes to talent. In Latin America, I'm seeing that because of all the pandemic, we have seen a lot of young talent to go to other industries. And we need to find a way to attract that talent and to retain it. So that's one of our main goals. Where we in ICA, we are very much supporting this type of endeavors from our members, from destinations, to see how else can we attract talent and retain it. And the other part is that in Latin America, over the past years, and this year as well, we have had a lot of changing governments actually in the entire region actually. So that actually provides a challenge, but an opportunity, because every once in a while, every 2 years, every 4 years that this happens, you need to actually just again go back to the narrative and showcasing the importance of the biddings industry to local governments, right? To new government officials. So I mean that's part of what we do as ICA. Of course, we do the whole advocacy. We help our members just to restate the economic impact, the cultural impact, the academic impact, the political impact. Everything that we do, it's actually going to impact positively the reactivation of our destinations in Latin America. So those are the main challenges, but we see it as an opportunity for us to work on.
And I really like your positive spin on it, that you can turn those challenges into opportunities, and it's not a bad thing to reiterate the narrative and the importance of face-to-face meetings. You're still getting congrats here in the chat from people about your marriage, and people are saying your wife is very lucky to have you. But we do have a very, very current question from one of our dear association executives in the community. Lisa is asking that she heard there was some mudslides in Colombia yesterday, and she's just hoping everybody's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, well, not only in Colombia but in Latin America, because of our different weathers and situations, we get this every once in a while. Unfortunately, yeah, we have some issues in a city that is called Pereira here in Colombia. Obviously, the government is already taking care of that, but I mean, yes, unfortunately, that was a pretty bad situation we had a couple days ago. Thank you
Okay, thank
for
you.
that. Yeah.
And thank you, Rahul, for your comment on a very great summary from Andres. It is spot on. And we are all going through it, even regardless of the situation where we are, in particular, the loss of talent. And I just attended a webinar yesterday from McKinsey, and one of the key focuses for leaders in any kind of industry was highlighted as, instead of looking at staffing attrition, trying to turn this into attraction. Again, that challenge, turning it into an opportunity. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining us as well. And we had somebody, was that Lu Pang, who was joining us from Amsterdam? I couldn't see it, was just as a
Yeah.
LinkedIn
Look on.
user, but it's great to see that we are even reaching our colleagues in Europe. So I know you are doing so much at the moment. Do you want to share some of the highlights of some of the most exciting developments you have in store for our supplier and association community in Latin
Yeah,
America?
of course, of course. But before that, I just want to say hi to Steve. It was very nice to meet him in person in Cartagena in October. We had a great time there, and obviously, I see my friend Raul right here. From Canada, also greetings to you, my friend. So, when it comes to Latin America, so I mean, the whole purpose of ICA right now in Latin America, it's we we I mean, we tried this year to actually just provide as much value as possible to our members. So everything that we're going to do this year, it's actually based on everything that we understand that they were the particular needs of our members. Whether if there's destinations, venues, hotels, PCOs, or industry providers, we try to develop new concepts, new activities that actually provide value to them. Everything related to bidding, right? To getting events back, to getting business back to our members. So that's what we're supporting more. So highlights from Latin America, we have a very good event calendar this year. We have created some new spaces. So for instance, next week we're going to have the ICA Latin American Bidding Lab, which is like an incubator or accelerator of bidding ideas. The whole idea is to optimize the way we actually bid for a Congress, to optimize resources, time, and efforts from everyone. So we're going to have that. We're going to have an eco destination marketing regional insights to know a little bit about what are those insights from Latin America. There's going to be in 2 weeks from now. It's going to be held in Bogota on site. Obviously, it's going to be a hybrid event for all the Latin American members and everyone who wants to join. We're going to have our chapter meeting in February. Then we're going to launch the bidding boot camp, actually, which is basically a set of workshops that we're going to do to help our members to bid better for congresses, to be more effective congresses, to lower risk when bidding for congresses. So we hope that this will result in business. Additionally to that, we launch a new regional event, which is called an ICA Country Summit. We're planning to do 10 this year, and it's basically us taking, for instance, we have the first one that we're going to have is going to be in Panama in March, late March. We're going to have this ICA Panama Summit. What it does is just it gathers the entire meetings ecosystem from Panama, and we bring a lot of education, a lot of speakers, a lot of workshops in just 1 day and a half approximately. And the idea is to talk with the local market to see what is happening and to help them bid for better congresses. So we're going to have Panama, we're going to have Costa Rica in April, Chile in July, Peru in September, and we're still to determine the dates for Guatemala, Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and of course our main event this year. And please let this be the chance for me to promote it. It's our Latin American and Caribbean Summit, which will be held in Guayaquil, Ecuador, an amazing city, great ICA member for the past year, for the past years. Actually, they have shown the most remarkable growth when it comes to the meetings industry. So we're going to be there in August. It's going to be a client supplier workshop. It's going to be a lot of academics, a lot of business related activities. So we're very excited and working with our partners in Guayaquil Convention and Visitors Bureau with that. So you're all more than welcome here. And again, I'm a very good tour guide in Colombia and from Latin America as well. So anywhere in Latin America, just let me know and we'll get you a very nice tour guide and show you around. It's a very vibrant region, as you know, and we're all very hungry to get back to work and to get back to organizing events and hosting these events and obviously making our industry stronger and better for the future.
And you're giving us a run for the money. I know my volunteer leaders for the North American chapter are in the audience. We'll have to regroup and see if we can jump on that bandwagon. And everybody's, I couldn't have said it better. Everybody's saying congrats on such a great job, from Eduardo Chaillo to Silvana, and Monica is also joining. Congratulations. And Steve is saying thank you for being such a gracious host in October. That was one fantastic conference we had in Cartagena. And talking about Cartagena, before we went live, you were talking about how impressive the number of meetings planned for Cartagena is. Do you just have a couple of few more figures to share?
Yeah, of course. Well, the first, I mean, I'm optimistic, and I said that because the data is supporting my optimism. Of course, it's like a practical optimism. So yes, I mean, actually, I've been talking to members since early January, and I'm amazed. Actually, I'm very happy to say that most of the members in Latin America, and I brought the sample of Cartagena because I saw their calendar, their event calendar yesterday, and it was amazing. I mean, they have no spots left on their calendar from here to December, and it's like I mean, they had I think it was like 10 international congresses coming to Cartagena this year. Obviously, they bid for this congresses a while back, but they are actually doing that. There's no plan for cancellations or postponements. Latin America. Most of the, I mean, from Mexico down, Eduardo knows this. We have no, there's no travel restrictions right now. I mean, obviously, some countries they do require the PCR test, vaccination proof, and all of that. However, there's no restrictions when it comes to entering. No confinements, mandatory confinements. Obviously, we do have a lot of biosafety measures. You saw that when you came to Cartagena last year. Face masks are mandatory, but I mean, it has allowed us to have this calendar, and it's a very positive event calendar. We're going to see a lot of movement, and we're going to publish all that. So I just heard this calendar of Cartagena yesterday, so we're going to show a little bit more about what's going on. So I'm very happy to say that most of Latin America is already welcoming international events, international visitors. I heard some hotels last year, actually, in Ecuador, in Peru, in Colombia, that they had the highest occupation rate even than 2019. So that's pretty amazing, actually, to hear. So I mean, a lot of things going on positively, obviously, and you're all more than welcome to the region. And if you want to know more, of course, feel free to reach out, and I'll share more information with you.
And I'll be sharing your email at the end of it. And this is really great news. And it's good to see that the two Americas are very much aligned, because one of the published figures from North America was that January meetings figures, delegate figures, are 350% up to compare to January of last year. So really great and positive news. I do have to acknowledge a very dear old friend and former ICA board member who's following us all the way from Istanbul. And she's saying hello from Istanbul as well, Handan, and congrats on your new job. And you already had quite an acknowledgement in the chat from your fellow ICA members as well. Great to have you, Handan. Thank you so much for hopping on. And Steve is joining me also in expressing his gratitude for sharing such positive news from the Latin American region. Um, there is not much left to say because we are already coming up to the end. But because it is called a What's Cooking Show, I know you were preparing a recipe to share with us or some of your favorite Latin foods. But what really confused me when we were chatting is that Arab food is top at the moment. Can you share more
Well,
about
yeah, well, I speak only for Colombia. Well, here in Colombia and mostly in the coastal upper part of Colombia, we have a lot of Arabs and Jewish descent actually. So all of our food, I'm from the coast, right next to Cartagena. I'm from Barranquilla, and most of our food is actually based out of inspired by the Middle East. So there's a lot of spices, a lot of hummus, a lot of Arab restaurants. In case you're in Colombia, there's a lot of Arab food and Jewish food. It's amazing, of course. And but yeah, I mean, I think Colombia is one of the countries who host most of the Arab immigrants from Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, obviously from Israel as well. My grandma's are Jewish descent, so I mean, there's a whole mix. I mean, this is Latin America. I mean, it's a mix of cultures, of traditions, and very dear to our heart, of course. And everyone is more than welcome always. So that was why I was mentioning the inspiration for our food. Yes.
And I think Handan really summarized this very well. ICA events are always such a great destination showcase. So this is really also featured in the foods and the cultures of all the ICA destinations, being very inclusive and very global. I think I would like to thank you, Andres, very much for joining us today. And anybody who wants to hear a little bit more or get in touch with Andres, please feel free to reach out on his email, andres.e@icaworld.org, or everybody's welcome to also connect with you via LinkedIn, I assume, Andres, right?
Of course. More than happy to
Perfect.
talk.
And the only thing left for me is to invite people who are interested to come on and share what's new within their destinations, within their organizations, and email me at xenia.p@icaworld.org. As mentioned, we are here every Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And our next guest next week will be Ken Torres from Quintana Roo Tourism Board. So thank you very much for joining us. And I hope you all got hungry after all the delicious food, which we heard from Andres. Bye bye. And thank you for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, my friend. Bye bye.
Bye.